Welcome to Monk's Temple. Tonight, you have come to a place of rest. Not because you are searching for something new, but because you are tired of searching. In the quiet of this hour, there is nothing to find, nothing to solve, and nothing to become. There is only the gentle invitation to stop. To stop trying, to stop forcing, to stop correcting the flow of your own mind. Buddhism teaches us that peace is not a distant destination. It is the ground beneath our feet, hidden only by our constant movement. I'd like to share a story with you from my own life, many years ago. I was traveling through a remote village in the mountains of Nepal, and I met an elderly woman who spent her days spinning wool. She sat by the same window every morning, her hands moving in a rhythm that seemed as steady as the sunrise. I asked her how she could bear the monotony, the repetition, day after day. She didn't look up from her spinning. She said, "The thread is not made by the pulling. It is made by the letting go." She was speaking of the spindle, of course, how the wool must be released with just the right tension to become strong, even thread. But I have carried those words with me ever since. Our minds are like that. We pull and tighten, trying to control the strands of our thoughts, and all we create is a tangle. But in sleep, we finally let go of the spindle. The mind, left to its own intelligence, begins to spin a thread of calm, woven through the night without a single thought from us. If you are new to this space, if the quiet here feels like a gentle shelter, consider subscribing to Monk's Temple. It is simply a way to return to this stillness whenever you need, a reminder that the door is always open. There is no pressure, only an invitation. Now, let us begin. We often think of our minds as machines. Complex, sometimes faulty, always in need of management. We give them commands: be quiet, be positive, focus, relax. And when they don't obey, we feel frustrated, as if we are failing at the most basic task of being human. But the Buddha's wisdom points in a different direction. The mind is not a machine. It is more like a wild garden. You cannot command a flower to bloom or a vine to grow in a straight line. You can only tend to the conditions. The quality of the soil, the presence of sunlight, the amount of water. And then you must step back and allow nature to take its course. Sleep is the ultimate act of stepping back. It is the gardener leaving the garden under the care of the moon and the dew. In that absence of interference, the roots grow deeper, the leaves unfurl, and the ecosystem of the mind finds its own balance. There is a profound difference between controlling the mind and understanding it. Control is like trying to hold a handful of water by squeezing your fist. The tighter you grip, the less you hold. Understanding is like opening your palm and letting the water rest there, knowing it may pool, it may trickle away, but it is at peace in your hand. The teachings of Buddhism are not a manual for a tighter fist. They are a guide for an open palm. Consider how habits form. We do not decide one day, "I will now become a person who worries at midnight." It happens by a kind of silent repetition. A thought passes through, and we clutch it. We examine it, we worry its edges, we follow it down a dark path. And because we paid it attention, it returns the next night, bringing friends. This is how the garden of the mind becomes overgrown with the same persistent weeds. They are not stronger than you. They are simply more practiced. They have been rehearsed, night after night, in the theater of your unconscious. And what is rehearsal but a form of training? You have been training yourself in worry without even knowing it. But here is the secret that sleep reveals: the stage is empty when you are not performing. In the depths of sleep, the actor leaves. The lights go down. The scripts are put away. And in that darkness, something else can be placed on the stage. Not with force, but with a gentle consistency. A single, simple note of peace. A feeling of safety. It does not need to be loud. In fact, it must be quiet, so quiet it feels like part of the silence itself. When this note is sounded again and again in the space where you usually rehearse your worries, the mind slowly, organically, begins to learn a new piece. It begins to hum a different tune. This is not programming. It is not a technical override. It is more like the way a forest path is formed. No one decides, this shall be the path. First, there is just a faint trace, a slight parting of the grass where one animal walked. Then another follows, and another. The soil is pressed down. The grass stops growing. Over time, what was once open field becomes a clear, defined trail. The thoughts in your mind are the animals. The ones you follow most often were the deepest trails. Sleep is the time when the animals are resting. But if, during this time, a gentle wind blows consistently from a new direction, it begins to bend the grass another way. It starts to suggest a different route. When you wake, the old trails are still there, but a new possibility has been whispered into the landscape. This is the gentle power of working with the sleeping mind. You are not destroying the old paths. You are simply allowing a new breeze to blow. I remember walking with a forest ranger once through a dense woodland. He showed me a wide, muddy trail worn deep by countless hikers. This is the main path, he said. Everyone takes it. Then he pointed to a barely visible gap in the ferns, a slight disturbance in the undergrowth. But that, he whispered, is the deer path. It goes to the same river, but it's quieter, and it passes by a clearing of wildflowers no one on the main path ever sees. Our mental habits are those main paths, wide, obvious, easy to follow. The way of calm, especially in sleep, is like discovering the deer path. It is not about fighting the main trail. It is about becoming aware that other, quieter routes exist, and then, in the stillness of night, allowing your feet to grow familiar with them. The mind, when it feels safe, does not need to be told what to do. It naturally settles, expands, and heals. Think of a pond after children have been throwing stones. The surface is all ripples and chaos. You cannot see the bottom. You cannot see the reflection of the sky. Trying to calm the mind with more thoughts is like trying to smooth the water with your hand, it just creates more disturbance. The only thing that works is to stop throwing stones. To sit on the bank and wait. Sleep is that patient sitting. It is the cessation of all stone throwing. The ripples of the day gradually subside. The chatter settles. And in that still water, the depth becomes visible, and the sky above is perfectly reflected. You do not create the calm. You simply stop preventing it. Many people come to practices like this hoping for a silent mind. They believe the goal is a perfect, thoughtless blankness. But the Buddha never promised an empty mind. He pointed to a mind that is spacious, a mind where thoughts can come and go like clouds in a vast sky without obscuring the blue expanse. The suffering is not in the presence of the cloud. It is in our habit of building a house on the cloud, of moving in and pretending it is solid ground. When the cloud dissolves, as all clouds do, we feel we are falling. Sleep teaches us to rest in the sky itself. To know that we are not the clouds, the temporary formations of worry, memory, and planning, but the open, aware space that holds them. In sleep, we instinctively know this. We let the clouds drift through. We do not argue with them. We do not build on them. We are, for a few precious hours, identify Ed with the sky. So tonight, as you listen, you are not here to build anything. You are here to unbuild. To gently take apart the house of struggle you may have constructed on a passing cloud. You are here to remember that you are the sky. And the sky does not need to try to be vast. It simply is. This is the foundation of our practice here at Monk's Temple. It is not an effort, but a remembrance. A return to a knowing that is older than your oldest worry, more peaceful than your deepest sleep. It is the knowing of the garden that grows without the gardener, the water that rests in the open palm, the dear path that leads to the flowers, the sky that holds the clouds without effort. Let this knowing be the blanket that covers you now. Not as an idea, but as a feeling. A softening around the edges of your effort. A permission slip you give to yourself to stop managing, stop fixing, stop trying. The night is capable of holding you without your assistance. Your breath knows how to breathe. Your heart knows how to beat. Your mind, in its deepest essence, knows how to be at peace. Allow yourself to sink into this trust. Let go of the spindle. Let the thread of your awareness be spun by the intelligence of the night itself. You are safe. You are held. You are not in charge of the universe tonight. You are allowed to simply be a part of it, resting, dissolving, being woven back into the whole. Welcome back. We continue here, in the soft space between words, in the quiet of Monk's Temple. In our last moments together, we spoke of the mind as a garden, a pond, a sky. We touched on the idea of allowing rather than forcing. Now, let's go a little deeper into the heart of a common misunderstanding, that to change, we must fight ourselves. There is a story from my youth that comes to mind. I worked one summer on a fishing boat in the Pacific Northwest. The seasoned captain had a rule for dealing with tangled nets. When a net was thrown into the water and came up in a hopeless snarl, the instinct of us newcomers was to pull, to yank, to force the knots apart. We would sweat and swear, and the knots would only tighten. The old captain would watch us, smoking his pipe. When we finally gave up in frustration, he would take the net. He wouldn't pull. He would gently gather the whole mess into his lap, find a single loose loop, and give it the smallest, easiest tug. Then another. He would work not against the tension, but with the slack. Within minutes, the net would be flowing freely in his hands. He'd say, "The knot isn't your enemy. Your pulling is what makes it your enemy." This is a central tenet of Buddhist psychology. The patterns we wish to change, anxiety, self-criticism, restless thinking, are not enemies to be vanquished. They are knots formed by our own repeated pulling, our resistance, our attention. When we see a difficult thought or feeling and we react with, "No, not this again," or "I have to get rid of this," we are pulling on the knot. We are giving it energy, definition, and strength. Sleep is fascinating because, in its deepest phases, the part of us that pulls goes offline. The hands that grip the net relax. And in that relaxation, the nervous system itself can begin the gentle work of finding slack. It can make micro-adjustments, loosening the binds of habit without a single conscious thought from you. Buddhism shifts the goal from conquest to understanding. You are not trying to create a mind that never tangles. You are learning the art of noticing the tangle without adding more tension. You are learning to be the captain, sitting calmly with the net in your lap, confident that slack exists and can be found. Think of how you learned to fear something. Perhaps it was a dog that barked loudly when you were a child. No one sat you down and logically convinced you to be afraid. The fear formed in a flash, a loud noise, a rush of adrenaline, a feeling of threat. That moment created a knot. Then, perhaps, every time you saw a dog afterward, you pulled on that knot. You tensed, you remembered, you anticipated the bark. The knot of "dogs are scary" tightened. Now, even as an adult who knows most dogs are friendly, you might still feel a jolt of tension. The logical mind says one thing, but the nervous system, trained by that old knot, says another. This is why willpower and logic often fail us. They speak to the captain, but the knot lives in the net. So how do we untie a knot that the thinking mind didn't tie? We stop pulling. We expose the net to a new kind of water. Imagine if that fearful child, after the barking dog, was consistently placed in a calm, safe room with a gentle, sleeping puppy. Not forced to pet it, not given a lecture on canine behavior, just present in the same atmosphere with a harmless, soft creature. Over time, the nervous system would begin to record a new experience: puppy, calm, safety. The old knot wouldn't be attacked. It would simply be surrounded by a different context until it lost its meaning. Sleep is that calm, safe room. It is the context in which your nervous system does its most profound learning. When you fill that room not with the rehearsal of fear, but with a steady, gentle atmosphere of safety, the old knots begin to loosen on their own. I learned this not from a scripture, but from a cat. I used to have a rescue cat that was terribly skittish. For months, she hid under the bed. I tried to coax her out with food, with toys, with a gentle voice. She wouldn't come. Frustrated, I finally gave up. I stopped trying to lure her. I just went about my life, reading on the couch, speaking softly, moving slowly. I created a predictable, non-threatening atmosphere. Weeks passed. One evening, as I was reading, I felt a slight weight on the edge of the couch. I didn't move. I didn't look. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw her, sitting there, just watching me. She wasn't there for food or toys. She was there because the atmosphere had finally convinced her it was safe. Your deepest, most skittish habits are like that cat. They won't be coaxed out by willpower or attacked into submission. They emerge into change only when the overall atmosphere of your mind convinces them it is safe to do so. And nothing creates a safe atmosphere like the consistent, non-demanding presence of rest. This is why the work we do here is so subtle. It is atmospheric work. We are not shouting affirmations into the darkness. We are adjusting the quality of the darkness itself, making it softer, more welcoming, more permeated with a sense of all is well. The Buddha taught that our fundamental nature is already whole, already peaceful. Our suffering arises from the conditions we place upon that nature, the storms of craving and aversion we stir up. Sleep is a natural return to those unconditioned states. In deep sleep, there is no "I want" or "I hate." There is just being. By gently guiding that return, we are not adding something foreign to the mind. We are simply reminding it of its original, unobstructed state. Let's explore another metaphor. Imagine your mind as a vast, clear alpine lake fed by many mountain streams. The streams are your senses, your thoughts, your experiences. During the day, the water is active, churned by the wind of your activity, stirred up by the inflow. It becomes cloudy. You cannot see the beautiful, ancient stones at the bottom. You might even forget they are there. But when night comes, the wind dies down. The inflow from the streams lessens. Gradually, the silt settles. The water becomes still and transparent. And there, in the deep quiet, you can see the bottom again, smooth, beautiful stones that have been there all along. Your peaceful, unwavering nature is those stones. The silt is the daily agitation of thought and emotion. Sleep is the settling. Our practice is not about removing the streams or stopping the wind forever. It is about learning the value of stillness, so that even when the wind blows again, you remember the stones are there, undisturbed beneath the temporary cloudiness. A Tibetan teacher once told me a parable. He said, imagine you are in a house at night, and you are very thirsty. You reach for a cup in the dark, but you knock it over. You hear it break on the floor. In your frustration, you begin to crawl around, cutting your hands on the shards, searching for one big enough to still hold water. This is what we do when we try to fix our minds from a place of fear and lack. He paused, then said, but if you would only sit still and wait for the dawn, you would see two things. First, the broken pieces are not the problem, your crawling in the dark is. And second, when the sun rises, you will see a whole, untouched jug of water sitting on the table, right in front of you all along. Our frantic self-improvement, our struggle with our thoughts, is that painful crawling in the dark. Rest, true rest, is sitting still and waiting for the dawn. In that waiting, we realize what we need was never missing. Sleep is a daily dawn for the mind. It is the light that reveals the wholeness that was obscured by our activity. So tonight, we are not crawling in the dark. We are sitting still. We are allowing the dawn of rest to come in its own time. We are practicing the ultimate Buddhist principle of non-doing. Not laziness, but a wise, intentional cessation of interference. We are letting the net of the mind lie slack in our lap. We are allowing the skittish cat of our habits to feel the safety of our non-threatening presence. We are watching the silt of the day settle in the lake of awareness. We are waiting for the dawn, knowing the water is already here. Feel that in your body now. The softening. The release of the need to manage, to figure out, to solve. You are off duty. The night is in charge. And the night is immensely kind, immensely capable. It knows how to heal, how to sort, how to settle. Your only task is to not recall yourself to duty. To not pick up the net and start pulling. To let the captain within you rest, trusting the boat to the sea. As you sink into this trust, let your breath be your anchor. Not something you control, but something you witness. The in-breath, happening. The out-breath, happening. The pause between them, happening. You are not breathing. You are being breathed by the night itself. And in that being breathed, every cell, every thought, every hidden knot is invited to relax. To be bathed in this gentle, rhythmic certainty, life is breathing you. You are supported. You are held. We will rest here in this knowing. Let us continue, moving deeper into the heart of the night, deeper into the embrace of Monk's Temple. We've been exploring the art of allowing, the wisdom of non-doing. Now, let's touch upon a concept that often causes great confusion on the path, the idea of the self. Who is it that is trying to change? Who is it that suffers? Who rests? Buddhist teaching presents a radical, freeing insight, the self, as we typically experience it. A solid, unchanging me at the center of everything, is more like a process than a thing. It is a story we tell ourselves, a narrative woven from memories, preferences, fears, and ideas. It is useful, like a character in a novel is useful for following the plot. But we make a fundamental error when we believe we are that character, trapped within the pages. We forget we are also the reader, the awareness holding the book. I want to share a personal memory that made this feel real for me. Years ago, I was going through a period of intense professional failure. The story I told myself was, I am a failure. I am not good enough. This proves it. I wore this story like a heavy, wet coat. One rainy afternoon, I visited an aquarium. I stood for a long time in front of a huge tank filled with jellyfish. They pulsed and floated, translucent, ethereal, their forms constantly shifting. Expanding, contracting, dissolving at the edges. They had no central core, no fixed shape. Yet they were alive, moving, graceful, complete. As I watched them, a thought arose, clear and quiet, I am not the wet coat of failure. I am more like this, a flowing, changing process. The story is just a temporary shape I've taken. The I that felt like a solid failure was just one form, one contraction. It could relax, and a different form could emerge. It didn't need to be fought. It just needed to be seen for what it was, a passing shape in the fluid of my being. Sleep, I realized, is when we return to our most fluid state. The shapes dissolve. The storylines blur. We are pure, pulsing awareness again, without a fixed character. This is why trying to fix yourself is such a fraught endeavor. It assumes there is a broken thing in need of repair. But from the Buddhist perspective, nothing is broken. There are only conditioned patterns, habits of thinking and feeling that cause suffering. The work is not repair, but repatterning. And the most effective repatterning happens not when the self is on guard, defending its territory, but when it is at rest, dissolved in the larger ocean of being. In sleep, the protagonist of your story goes to bed. The stage is left empty for the stagehands, the subconscious, the nervous system. To rearrange the set, to paint new backdrops, to try out different lighting. Consider a river. If you ask, what is the true shape of the river, you might point to its banks, its course on a map. But the water within those banks is never the same. It is always moving, always new. The river is a name we give to a perpetual flow. Your self is like that. It is not the water, those are your fleeting thoughts and feelings. It is not the banks, those are your body and your circumstances. It is the flow itself. And flow cannot be broken. It can only be obstructed or allowed. Most of our suffering comes from trying to be the banks, trying to hold a permanent shape, trying to stop the water from moving. Sleep is when you forget to be the banks. You remember you are the flow. And flow knows how to move around obstacles. It does so naturally, when left to its own intelligence. I learned about flow from a potter, not a monk. She told me that the worst thing a beginner does is to try to force the clay to become a vase. You have to have a conversation with the clay, she said. You apply pressure, and you feel how it responds. You follow its willingness. If you fight it, it collapses. The vase is already in the clay. Your job is to discover it together. Our minds are that clay. Our conscious intentions apply a certain pressure. But if we apply too much, if we are too attached to a specific outcome, the perfect calm self, the whole thing collapses into frustration. Sleep is when we take our hands off the wheel. The clay rests. And in that rest, it recenters itself. It returns to its own balanced, pliable state, ready for a gentler, more cooperative conversation when we return. The Buddha taught that clinging to a fixed self is the root of suffering. We cling to a self that is successful, or we cling to a self that is a failure. We cling to a self that is anxious, or we cling to a self that wishes it weren't anxious. It's all clinging. And all of it creates tension. The practice is to notice the clinging, and to soften the grip. Not to find a better thing to cling to, but to experience the freedom of the open hand. When you drift into sleep, your grip softens naturally. You let go of the day's identity, the worker, the parent, the struggler. For a few hours, you are nobody. And in being nobody, you are at peace with everything. There is a valley I used to hike in where the wind made a strange, beautiful sound as it passed through a particular stand of bamboo. It wasn't a whistle or a howl. It was a deep, resonant hum, like the earth itself was singing. I asked a local about it. He said, the bamboo is hollow. It doesn't try to make the sound. The wind doesn't try to make the sound. It is the space inside the bamboo, meeting the movement of the air. That hum is the sound of non-resistance. Our suffering is the sound of resistance, the creaking and groaning of a structure fighting the wind. Our peace is the sound of hollowness, of spaciousness, allowing the winds of experience to pass through us, making a music we did not compose. In sleep, we become more like that hollow bamboo. The winds of dream and memory blow through, but there is less solid structure for them to crash against. The experience is more like resonance than impact. So tonight, we are practicing being hollow bamboo. We are allowing the structure of me to become more porous, more transparent. We are inviting ourselves to be a conduit for peace, not a fortress against chaos. This is not a loss. It is a homecoming. You are not losing yourself, you are returning to your original, spacious nature. Feel that in your body now. With each exhale, imagine the solid edges of your self-concept softening, becoming permeable. You are not a statue. You are a gentle pulse of light in a vast dark. You are not a locked room. You are a window, open to the night air. The thoughts that pass are not intruders. They are night birds flying across the moon, seen through the window. They come, and they go. And the window remains, clear, open, undisturbed. This is the practice of anatta, or not self. It is not a philosophy to believe, but an experience to notice. And you can notice it most easily in the threshold of sleep. In that drowsy, in-between state, who are you? Are you the fragmented dream images? Are you the memory of what you did today? Are you the worry about tomorrow? Or are you the aware space in which all of those appear and disappear? That aware space is your true refuge. It is Monk's temple itself, within you. Rest as that space now. Let everything else be content. The sounds, the feelings, the thoughts, let them be the wind. You are the hollow bamboo, the open window, the clear night sky. You are the space that holds, and therefore cannot be disturbed. We will linger in this spaciousness. Let's move forward, deeper into this quiet exploration. We've talked about allowing, about the fluid self, about being a space rather than a thing. Now, let's address one of the great engines of our mental suffering, time. The mind is a time traveler. It rarely lives in the present. It is a museum of the past and a planning committee for the future. And this constant journeying is exhausting. It pulls awareness away from the only place where life is actually happening, here, now. Buddhism places immense importance on present moment awareness, not as a special spiritual state, but as a factual return to reality. The past is a memory, a story. The future is a fantasy, a projection. Neither one actually exists. The only thing that is real, that you can directly experience, is this moment. The feeling of your body against the surface you're lying on, the sound of silence or distant noise, the rhythm of your breath. Sleep is fascinating because it is a dissolution of time. In deep sleep, there is no past, no future. There is only a timeless, undifferentiated being. We return to the eternal present. I had a powerful lesson about time from a source I didn't expect, a master clockmaker. I visited his small, dusty shop, filled with the ticking of 100 different clocks. I asked him if the constant sound drove him mad. He smiled and said, "I don't hear the ticks. I hear the spaces between them." He picked up a delicate wristwatch he was repairing. "People think a clock measures time," he said, holding it up to his ear. "But it doesn't. It measures intervals. It creates a rhythm. Time itself." He gestured out the window to the sunlight moving across the floor. "That is everywhere and nowhere. We just agree to dance to this little rhythm so we can meet for tea." Our anxious minds are like someone listening only to the frantic ticking of a clock, blind to the spacious intervals. We are obsessed with the measure, and we miss the measured, which is life itself. Sleep is when we finally stop listening to the ticks. We sink into the space between. We return to the sunlight on the floor, timeless and still. When you lie down tonight, your mind might try to continue its time travel. It might replay an awkward conversation from the afternoon, past. Or rehearse your to-do list for tomorrow, future. This is the old rhythm, the familiar ticking. Our practice is not to fight those thoughts, but to gently widen our attention to include the intervals, the feeling of the pillow, the weight of the blanket, the simple fact of being horizontal and still. In those sensory anchors, time collapses into the present. The past and future thoughts become like faint, distant ticks, while the spacious reality of now becomes the dominant experience. This is how you begin to retrain the nervous system to live in its only true home, the present moment. Think of your awareness as a flashlight. When you are anxious, the beam is narrow, frantic, jumping from one tick of the past to one tick of the future. It illuminates only fragments, and the darkness around them feels threatening. Peace is when the beam widens into a floodlight, or better yet, when you turn it off entirely and let your eyes adjust to the ambient moonlight. You see the whole landscape, not just the isolated, scary details. The present moment is that whole landscape. It contains everything, sensations, sounds, space, and in its wholeness, it feels inherently safe and complete. Sleep is the ultimate turning off of the flashlight. It is total adjustment to the dark, which is not an absence of light, but a fullness of a different kind of seeing. I remember camping in the desert as a young man. The first night, the complete blackness felt oppressive. I fumbled with my flashlight, needing to see my hands, my tent, the path. But the battery died. Forced into the dark, I had to sit still. Slowly, my eyes adjusted. The Milky Way emerged, a breathtaking river of dust and stars I had never truly seen before. The silhouettes of cacti became beautiful sculptures. The world didn't need my tiny beam of light to be magnificent and coherent, it needed my surrender to a vaster way of perceiving. Our obsession with managing time is like that dying flashlight. We think we need its beam to see our way forward. But when we let it go, when we sink into the timeless present of rest, a vaster, more beautiful and coherent reality reveals itself. Our problems, which seem so pressing under the narrow beam, are absorbed into a landscape of astounding, peaceful grandeur. The Buddha taught that all suffering is rooted in craving and aversion, wanting things to be different than they are. This craving is almost always oriented in time. We crave a future where we feel better, and we are averse to a past where we felt worse. We are pulled out of the one place where craving and aversion cease, the present, where things simply are. In the present, a pain is just a sensation. In time, it becomes, my back always hurts, past, or, what if it's worse tomorrow? Future. Sleep is a daily lesson in present moment awareness. In dreamless sleep, there is no story of pain, no time to locate it in. There is only the direct experience, if any, and even that is not labeled or prolonged. It's a masterclass in being with what is, without commentary. So tonight, we are practicing the clockmaker's wisdom. We are listening for the spaces between the ticks. We are turning off the frantic flashlight of time travel and allowing our awareness to adjust to the timeless starlight of the present. Your body is here. Your breath is here. The soft dark around you is here. This is enough. This is more than enough. This is everything. Feel the support beneath you. It is holding you now. Hear the quiet in the room. It is sounding now. Notice the temperature on your skin. It is happening now. There is no need to go anywhere else, in your mind or in time. All journeys end here, in this endless present. And in this present, you are safe, because nothing from the past can hurt you here, and nothing from the future can threaten you here. Here, there is only being. Rest as this being. Let the ticks of thought become part of the background rhythm, unimportant. Give your allegiance to the silence between them, which is vast, which is your true home. We will abide in this timelessness. Welcome back, as we journey further into the landscape of rest. We've explored allowing, the fluid self, and timeless presence. Now, let's turn to a force that shapes our inner world more than almost anything else, attention. Where your attention goes, energy flows. And where energy flows, your mind and brain build structures. This isn't a metaphor, it's neuroscience, and it's also ancient Buddhist wisdom. The mind takes the shape of what it rests upon. We often think of attention as something we direct. Pay attention, we say. But in the context of inner peace, it's more useful to think of attention as a resource, like water. If you pour water on a rock every day for years, the rock will erode. A new path will be formed. If you pour water on a seed, a tree will grow. Your attention is that water. Every time you anxiously dwell on a worry, you are watering the weed of anxiety. Every time you rest your attention on the feeling of your breath or a sensation of calm, you are watering the seed of peace. Sleep is a critical period because it's when the garden is watered by the deep wells of the subconscious. What has received your attention during the day will be watered again. But here's the opportunity: we can gently, subtly, influence what else gets watered in that deep, receptive state. Buddhism teaches the principle of bhavana, often translated as development or cultivation. It is the intentional cultivation of wholesome mental states. This isn't about slapping a happy face over sadness. It's about patiently, consistently, turning your attention, your water, toward the seeds of calm, kindness, and clarity that already exist within you, so they can grow strong enough to withstand the storms. And the most effective time to do this cultivation is when the conscious, critical mind is offline, during the soft, open state of sleep. I learned about the power of subtle attention from a master gardener who specialized in growing ancient, delicate varieties of roses. I asked him his secret. He said, "Most people water the plant. I water the soil around the plant. I tend to the environment. The plant knows what to do with a healthy environment." He didn't yell at the roses to grow. He didn't paint the buds to make them redder. He focused on the conditions, the quality of the soil, the drainage, the ambient humidity. Our mental cultivation is the same. We are not trying to force a calm thought. We are tending to the soil of the mind, the overall atmosphere of safety, acceptance, and gentle presence. Sleep is when we add the richest nutrients to that soil, through tonal suggestion, through consistent feeling tones of peace. We water the soil, and the mind, like the rose, knows what to do. Consider a village that gets its water from two springs. One spring is bitter, mineral heavy. The other is sweet and clear. For years, the villagers only knew about the bitter spring. They grew used to the taste. Their tea was sharp, their bread had a tang. They came to believe this was just how water tasted. Then one day, a child discovers the sweet spring. At first, the villagers are skeptical. The bitter water is familiar. It's what they know. But slowly, a few begin to mix the sweet water with the bitter. Over time, as they drink more from the sweet spring, their preference changes. The bitter water becomes something they visit less and less, until one day they realize their entire supply comes from the sweet spring, and they've forgotten the old taste. Your attention is the village water supply. The bitter spring is the habitual looping of worry, judgment, and fear. The sweet spring is the quiet awareness of the present, the feeling of the body at rest, the gentle rhythm of the breath. During the day, you might be mostly drinking from the bitter spring out of habit. Sleep is your chance to connect deeply, uninterrupted, to the sweet spring. To let its water permeate the village wells of your subconscious, so that when you wake, the memory of that sweetness is stronger, more familiar, more chosen. A personal story: for a long time, I struggled with a critical inner voice, especially around my work. It was a constant, low-grade stream of bitterness. One night, instead of trying to argue with it or analyze it, I simply decided to do an experiment. As I lay in bed, I would feel for any tiny spot in my body that felt neutral or even slightly pleasant. One night it was just the coolness of the sheet on my ankle. I poured all my gentle attention into that one, small, sweet sensation. I didn't ignore the critical voice, I just gave the cool sheet more of my interest. It was like turning my head to look out a window at a peaceful tree, while a radio played unpleasant news in the room. I didn't turn off the radio, I just focused on the tree. Night after night, I practiced this. I was watering the sweet spring. Over weeks, something shifted. The critical voice didn't disappear, but its volume decreased. It lost its compelling power. The taste of peaceful, sensory awareness became more familiar, more default. The change wasn't dramatic. It was ecological. I had changed the water supply of my inner village. This is the essence of sleep-based mind training. It is ecological. It changes the environment of the mind so that old, harmful patterns find less nourishment, and new, wholesome patterns find a friendly habitat in which to grow. The Buddha didn't teach us to kill our thoughts. He taught us to see their nature, and in that clear seeing, to withdraw the fuel of blind attention that keeps them burning. Sleep is the time when we can most easily practice this fuel withdrawal and offer a different kind of fuel, the fuel of ambient peace. So tonight, you are the gardener watering the soil. You are the villager choosing the sweet spring. You are not fighting the weeds or banning the bitter water. You are simply, consistently, devoting your deepest resources, the resources of the night, to a different source. Feel that. You are nourishing peace at the root level. You are allowing the nutrients of rest to seep down into the bedrock of your being. Let your attention now be like a soft rain, falling gently on the entire landscape of your body and mind. Not targeting any specific spot, just blessing it all with a sense of acceptance, of allowance. This rain is not trying to grow anything in particular. It is simply creating the conditions where whatever is healthiest and most natural can thrive. And in the fertile, dark soil of sleep, what will thrive is peace. It is the native plant of your true nature. Rest under this gentle rain of attention. You are cultivating nothing, and in doing so, you are cultivating everything that matters. We will rest here in this nourishing silence. Let us go deeper still. We've tended to the soil of the mind with our attention. Now, let's examine the very light by which we see that soil, awareness itself. In Buddhism, awareness, pure, non-judgmental knowing, is often considered fundamental. It is the canvas upon which the painting of our experience appears. Thoughts, feelings, sensations are the paint. Most of our lives, we are lost in the paint, arguing with the colors, trying to repaint the scene. We forget the canvas, which remains untouched, clean, and ever-present behind it all. Sleep, especially the moment of dropping off, is a direct experience of returning to the canvas before the painting of dreams begins. Imagine you are in a planetarium, watching a spectacular show of stars and galaxies projected on the vast dome above you. The narrative is thrilling, the visuals overwhelming. You are completely absorbed. Then, the show ends. The projections fade. The lights come up slowly. And you see it, the dome itself. Smooth, white, empty, and immense. The show was temporary, but the dome was always there, the necessary condition for the show to be seen at all. Your awareness is that dome. The day's events, your swirling thoughts, your passions and worries, they are the brilliant, captivating show. Sleep is the ending of the day's program. It is the fading of the projections, the revealing of the dome. For a time, you rest as the pure, empty capacity for experience, not as any particular experience itself. This is a profound healing. It's why you can wake up feeling renewed even if you don't remember dreaming. The renewal happened in the return to the canvas, the dome, the awareness itself. I had an experience that made this vivid for me. I was on a long, silent meditation retreat. After days of intense mental activity, I felt exhausted by my own inner show. One evening, sitting in the meditation hall, a simple instruction was given: notice what sees. Not what is seen, but the seeing itself. Not the thought, but the awareness that knows the thought. In that moment, it was as if a switch flipped. The frantic movie of my mind didn't stop, but it suddenly appeared on a different screen, a screen that was vast, calm, and completely separate from the drama. The relief was physical. I was not the troubled character in the movie. I was the theater. And the theater was undamaged by whatever played on its screen. That fundamental shift in identity, from content to context, is available to all of us most easily in the liminal space before sleep. We can practice being the theater, not the film. The Buddha's enlightenment, at its core, was a profound realization about the nature of awareness. He saw that all phenomena are anicca, impermanent, dukkha, unsatisfying when clung to, and anatta, not self. This seeing didn't happen by thinking about it. It happened by resting in the awareness that witnesses impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and selflessness. He didn't become enlightened, he stopped identifying with everything that was not the enlightened awareness. Our nightly journey into sleep is a small, natural enlightenment. We let go of identifying with the day's content. We fall back into the witness. We may not stay there, dreams soon arise as new content. But the touch of that pure awareness is deeply restorative. Think of a mountain lake at dawn, so still it perfectly mirrors the sky and the peaks. That mirror-like quality is the nature of pure awareness. It reflects perfectly without being changed by what it reflects. A stormy sky is reflected as stormy. A calm, pink dawn is reflected as calm and pink. The lake doesn't prefer one over the other. It doesn't cling to the pink dawn or try to reject the storm. It simply reflects. Our suffering is like the lake trying to become the sky, trying to hold on to the pink dawn or push away the storm. Peace is the lake remembering it is water, and its nature is to reflect with perfect, effortless clarity. Sleep is when the winds of our manipulation die down. The lake becomes still. It returns to its true mirror nature. In that stillness, it reflects perfectly, without distortion, and that act of clear reflection is itself a state of wholeness and peace. I once knew a blind woman who was a master musician. She could hear the slightest dissonance in an orchestra. I asked her how she experienced music. She said, "I don't experience the notes as separate things. I experience the silence that holds them. The notes are events in the silence. The more deeply I listen to the silence, the more clearly I hear the music. This is a perfect analogy for awareness. We are usually listening to the notes, the thoughts, the feelings. We miss the silent, aware space that holds them and allows them to be heard. Sleep training is learning to listen to the silence. It is shifting our identity from the notes to the listening itself. When we do this, the notes don't disappear. They simply cease to be problems. They become music happening within a vast, accepting quiet. So tonight, you are practicing being the planetarium dome, not the show. You are being the theater, not the movie. You are being the lake, not the storm or the dawn. You are being the silence that hears the music. This is not an act of creation. It is an act of recognition. You are recognizing what you already are, and have always been, beneath the temporary identifications. Feel this now. Close your eyes gently. Notice the space behind your eyes. Notice the field of darkness. That is not nothingness. That is awareness, aware of darkness. Now, notice any sound. Be aware of the space in which the sound arises and fades. That space is you. Now, notice a thought or a feeling. Be aware of the knowing that knows that thought. That knowing is you. You are not the dark, the sound, or the thought. You are the aware space that contains them all. You are the canvas. Rest as this canvas. Let the paint of experience be whatever it is. Your job is not to manage the paint. Your job is to be the clear, steady ground upon which it appears. In this recognition, there is profound ease. There is nothing to defend, because the canvas cannot be harmed by any painting. There is nothing to achieve, because the canvas is already perfectly what it is. You are already home. Sleep is just the journey you take to remember that, every single night. Rest as this knowing canvas. We are approaching a deeper layer of understanding. We've explored awareness as the canvas. Now, let's consider the painter. Not a personal painter, but the impersonal force of conditioning that creates the patterns on the canvas, cause and effect. In Buddhism, this is the law of karma, often simplified but profoundly meaningful. It is the law that intentional actions of body, speech, and mind have consequences. The patterns of your mind tonight are the result of the seeds of attention and intention you have planted in the past. And the state of your mind tomorrow will be influenced by the seeds you plant in the fertile ground of tonight's sleep. This is not about blame or cosmic scorekeeping. It is about empowerment through understanding. You are not a victim of a randomly anxious mind. You are the gardener of a mental landscape that has been seeded in specific ways. Some seeds were planted by you, consciously or unconsciously. Some were planted by your culture, your upbringing, your genetics. But here's the liberating part, you can plant new seeds. And the best time to plant seeds for peace is when the ground is soft, receptive, and free from the weeding activity of the conscious, critical mind. Think of your mind as an old, layered forest. The tallest trees, your most dominant habits, were planted long ago. Their roots are deep. You cannot easily cut them down without disturbing the entire ecosystem. But you can plant new saplings in the clearings. You can water them. You can give them sunlight. Over time, as these new trees grow, they will change the light in the forest, the composition of the soil, the habitat for creatures. The old trees may still stand, but they become part of a new, healthier forest. Sleep is the gentle rain and sunlight that nourishes whatever saplings you have chosen to plant. You are not fighting the forest. You are introducing new life into it. I witnessed this principle in action on a friend's farm. He inherited a field that was overrun with a tough, invasive weed. For years, he fought it, pulling, burning, poisoning. It always came back stronger. Finally, he changed his strategy. He stopped fighting the weed. Instead, he began planting a fast-growing, dense cover crop, clover. He tended the clover carefully. The clover didn't attack the weed. It simply grew thick and lush, covering the ground, claiming the sunlight, and enriching the soil. Within 2 seasons, the weed was gone, not because it was defeated, but because the conditions that supported it were gone. The clover had peacefully claimed the territory. This is karma in action. You cannot overcome a negative mental habit by direct war. You must plant a stronger, more wholesome habit and tend to it diligently. The negative habit will fade not because you destroyed it, but because you stopped feeding it and started feeding something else. Sleep is your most powerful time for watering your clover. The Buddha taught the Noble Eightfold Path as a guide for planting the right seeds, seeds of wise understanding, wise intention, wise speech, and so on. This is a path of cultivation. Tonight, in this practice, we are engaging in a form of wise cultivation. We are planting seeds of calm, safety, and non-resistance in the fertile field of the sleeping mind. We are watering them with our gentle attention and the peaceful atmosphere we create. We are not planting these seeds with force, like driving a stake into hard ground. We are laying them on soft soil and letting the night rain do the work of embedding them. A story from my own path: I used to have terrible stage fright. The mere thought of public speaking would send my heart racing months in advance. The old tree of fear was huge. Trying to think positive or calm down was like trying to chop at the trunk with a butter knife. Then, I started a new practice. Every night, as I lay in bed, I wouldn't try to fight the fear. I would simply imagine, for just 30 seconds, the feeling of after a successful talk. Not the content of the talk, but the physical sensation, the lightness in the chest, the calm fatigue, the warmth of a room where connection had happened. I planted that tiny seed of a feeling. I didn't believe it. I just planted it. Night after night. I was planting clover in the field of my fear. It took time. But one day, I realized the thought of speaking no longer triggered a tidal wave of dread. It triggered a faint echo of that light, calm feeling. The clover had grown. The weed was still there, but it was starved of sunlight. The change happened not through battle, but through consistent, gentle reseeding in the vulnerable state of sleep. This is the practical magic of working with the sleeping mind. You bypass the arguing, skeptical, daytime self. You speak directly to the soil. You become a wise farmer of your own inner landscape, understanding that you work with seasons, not with instant results. You trust that a seed planted in darkness will, in its own time, break toward the light. So tonight, you are a farmer in the peaceful night. You are not here to wage war on any weed of thought or feeling. You are here to scatter seeds of peace. Feel yourself doing that. With each soft breath, imagine a seed of pure acceptance being laid to rest in the rich soil of your heart-mind. You don't need to know how it will grow. You don't need to plan its shape. You only need to trust the ancient law of life, that which is planted with consistency, in fertile ground, will grow. Let your entire being become this act of planting. Your relaxed body is the fertile field. Your gentle listening is the rain. Your intention for peace is the seed. And the vast intelligence of life itself is the sun that will prompt its growth. You are in collaboration with a universal process. There is no effort here, only participation in a natural law. Rest as this participatory act. You are not doing anything strenuous. You are simply aligning with the growth principle of the universe, which tends always toward balance, toward healing, toward wholeness. In sleep, you give this principle full permission to work within you. We will rest in this alignment. This is our final part together tonight here at Monk's Temple. We have traveled through metaphors of gardens and rivers, clocks and canvases, forests and farms. We have explored allowing, releasing the self, resting in the present, cultivating attention, recognizing awareness, and planting seeds. All of these paths lead to the same quiet clearing. The understanding that what you are seeking, you already are. Peace is not a product. It is the precondition. Your work is not to build it, but to cease the activity that obscures it. The Buddha's final teaching is said to have been, all conditioned things are impermanent. Strive on with diligence. At first, this might sound like a call to effort. But, strive on with diligence, toward what? Toward understanding impermanence. Toward letting go. Toward the cessation of striving itself. It is a diligent effort to end all futile effort. It is a committed practice of non-practice. Our journey tonight is in this spirit. We have diligently created the conditions for rest, so that rest can happen of its own accord. Now, we arrive at the point of letting go of even this guidance, this voice, these concepts. Imagine you have been walking a long path through a forest, guided by a friend who knows the way. You have crossed streams, climbed hills, navigated by the stars they pointed out. Now, you arrive at the edge of the forest. Before you stretches a wide, open meadow, bathed in moonlight. Your guide stops. The path ends here, they say. The meadow is yours to walk alone. There is no more path to follow. Just the ground beneath your feet. The guide doesn't leave you lost. They leave you found. They leave you in the open space where you can finally walk without instruction, because every step is on solid earth, under the open sky. My words have been that path through the forest. The meadow is your own sleep, your own unmediated being. It is time for me to step back, and for you to walk into the moonlight alone. There is a last story I will share, a very simple one. When my nephew was very young, he was afraid of the dark. One night, instead of turning on a nightlight, I sat with him. I said, let's not fight the dark. Let's make friends with it. I asked him to tell me what the dark felt like. Soft, he said after a while. And quiet. What does your blanket feel like? I asked. Warm, he said. And what does your pillow feel like? Cool. We just listed sensations in the dark for a few minutes: the weight of the blanket, the sound of the house settling, the smell of clean sheets. Soon, his breathing deepened. He wasn't fighting the dark anymore. He was experiencing it. And in the direct experience of it, without the story of fear, it became just another texture of the world, neutral, even comforting. He fell asleep holding my hand, but he was really holding the hand of his own sensory awareness. That is all that is ever required. To exchange the story about an experience for the direct, felt sense of the experience itself. In the case of sleep, to exchange the story of, "I need to sleep," or, "I hope I don't worry," for the direct feeling of the bed, the breath, the quiet. In that exchange, struggle ends, and what remains is simply what is. And what is always enough to fall asleep in. So now, we exchange stories for sensation. Concepts for the direct experience of this moment. Let go of my voice. Let go of the teachings. Let go of Monk's temple itself. Let it all dissolve like sugar in water. What remains is the water, your own clear, aware presence. Feel the incredible intelligence of your body, already winding down, already releasing the day. Honor it. Trust it. You are not in charge of this process. You are the witness to a miracle that happens by itself, every night. Your heart knows how to beat. Your lungs know how to breathe. Your mind knows how to dissolve into dreams and silence. You are carried by life itself into the arms of rest. There is nothing more to understand. Nothing more to do. No seeds to plant, no gardens to water, no clocks to listen to. All of that was just a story to bring you here, to the edge of the meadow. Now, the story is over. You are here. The night is here. Silence is here. Awareness is here. Let them merge. Let there be no separation between you and the soft dark, between you and the rhythm of your breath, between you and the vast, quiet awareness that holds it all. In this non-separation, there is no one who needs to sleep, and therefore, sleep comes effortlessly. There is no one who needs to be calm, and therefore, calm is the very fabric of your being. I will be quiet now. I will leave you in your meadow, under your moon. This is your time. This is your rest. This is your true nature, shining in the dark. Good night.